Okay people, in case you ain't here, Black Clover just dropped a bombshell in the form of a new trailer for the upcoming movie arriving March 2023 entitled Black Clover, The Sword of the Wizard King. Now I bet when you hear that title you're probably like, okay, it's a movie about Julius, right? Nah fam, it's deeper than that. They're really feeding us good, mate. Upon releasing the latest trailer and the title for the movie, they also released a sketch done by Yuki Tabata himself of a key character who will be in the film. Wait for it. King Conrad, the previous Wizard King. Based on all the information we gathered so far, it seems the film is going to be taking place either prior to the war against the Spade Nation or prior to the arc we're currently reading right now in the manga. So then that begs the question, okay, if that's the case, what's up with the film and this King Conrad dude? Well, don't worry fam, I'm about to blow your mind with what I've discovered. Now, from what we know in Black Clover so far, there has currently been 28 Wizard Kings in history, stemming from the very first Wizard King, Lumiere, that slayed that giant demon, all the way through to the 28th one, Julius. And I would be lying if I said I wasn't curious as to, hey, why we never get mentions of the other 26 Wizard Kings. Because with the other 26, they have spanned over how many freaking years, considering Lumiere was what, 500 years ago or something like that? Like, it was a long freaking time ago where the first Wizard King began the Clover Kingdom. And sadly, throughout the anime and manga's run, we never really got any concrete answers as to, okay, was there anything significant regarding the other Wizard Kings, or was it just Lumiere and the rest of them sucked up until Julius? And add the fact that Julius has always been a little bit sketchy to say the least. But with the title of the Black Clover movie coming in March 2023 being Sword of the Wizard King, it makes you wonder, okay, what's going on here? And based on the character description and design that was provided by Yuki Tabata for King Conrad, you can gather a couple of different things about the character off rip. The fact that on his red fabric belt, there's a strand of 5 golden keys, what those keys go to. And what you could gather based on the design that was released for King Conrad is, if this is indeed how he's going to look throughout the film, why is he so young and Julius is within the role of Wizard King currently and has been for a few years now at the very least? Considering if this dude is young, it means that he didn't retire, he wasn't too old to fulfill the job. What happened? So off rip, I could tell you that more than likely, if this dude is indeed the 27th Wizard King of the Clover Kingdom, he probably did something wrong and essentially was either upstaged or usurped, so to speak, by Julius and his crew. Because you also gotta wonder why throughout this whole entire time we didn't even get one mention of King Conrad, considering the fact that the Wizard King is a big deal. In Black Clover, the biggest goal for Asta and Yuno is that they want to inevitably become Wizard King. Well, if Wizard King is important, and we know about Julius, we know about Lumiere, what happened to the dudes before him? Why no mention? And that leads me to believe that something happened along the lines of King Conrad being some sort of disgrace, or possibly even a tyrant. Because you gotta think, remember that there's not only the Wizard King, there's the regular king of the kingdom, and he's been shown to be somewhat of a slime ball. In fact, he's been around for a bit and he's part of the old regime. If he's that type of guy, possibly that's also the type of guy that King Conrad was. Granted, Julius is a little bit of a different breed. I'd imagine they put him in position to be the Wizard King simply because his strength. I mean, Julius has been shown to be stronger than most people within the Clover Kingdom, so yeah, it probably was his strength that got him in there. Because if you left it up to that slimy king that we've had running the Clover Kingdom, probably we would get somebody along the lines of him. But considering the fact that Julius has pretty much been shown to have somewhat of a pure heart, obviously there's a little bit of a shady nature that we've always wondered regarding him. But ultimately you gotta think, how the heck did he get in position to be Wizard King if the regular king is just like a bad dude? So that gotta make you think that, well, maybe King Conrad was a bad dude as well. Also, looking closely at Conrad's design, he has what seems to be like a patch of grass or seaweed on his head. Makes you think, well, okay, what could that possibly link his powers and his magic to? And if he's going to be the main antagonist of the upcoming Black Clover movie, I'm imagining it's probably going to be some power that is super OP. I mean, for crying out loud, he was the previous Wizard King. He should be very freaking strong. And that led me to believe that he possibly uses deep sea magic, maybe some deep sea seaweed, or some type of natural spells. Again, it has to be something that is out of this world, astronomical, for it to make sense, considering he held the reins of Wizard King. And if we're connecting everything we've gathered so far regarding this film, the first trailer that we got for the Black Clover movie, it showcased a small clip of Asta with a black cloak on, kind of making it seem as though Asta was either on a covert mission or basically wasn't trying to get recognized. And if you add that plus the fact that the title of the movie is The Sword of the Wizard King, there's a probability that possibly he's on some sort of mission to either retrieve a sword for Conrad, to stop Conrad, or a simple mission initially sent from the Clover Kingdom or the Heart Kingdom, it depends on when this movie takes place, basically on a simple training mission that ultimately leads into the massive grand grandiose plot. But I'm definitely betting my money on Asta is going somewhere to potentially again retrieve some sort of legendary sword that possibly even at one given point belonged to King Conrad, or King Conrad himself wanted that sword, and that's where it's going to be a thorn on his side, like, hey, little shrimp, move over, this is my sword. We also know based on leaks that this movie is seemingly not going to be canonical to the Black Clover series, so that leaves a little bit of wiggle room for certain things to happen that won't have to be explained later on in the story, such as more than likely Asta is going to get some movie exclusive transformation. I can bet my bottom dollar on it. And even though it's not going to be canon, I'm going to also bet that they're probably going to try to make the transformation something temporary that can still fit within the realms of, hey, why don't we ever see this transformation again in the series? Probably because Asta uses this form thanks to whatever this sword of the Wizard King embodies. And I'm going to guess that this transformation is going to be something along the lines of possibly perfected demon swordsmith form, something along the lines of basically Asta and the fact that majority of his big attacks is like, you know, demon slasher and things like that, and essentially some sort of master of swordsmanship, which if you take into account most shonen battle series that have films, it'll probably be the final attack and we'll probably see it for a few minutes or something like that. And again, possibly the sword will break and Asta won't be able to use that form anymore because it'll be something linked to the fact that he has his hands on this sword. And to top it all off, even if it's not necessarily canonical to the series, in general, this is just great training for Asta for what's to come. Because there's pretty much two time skips where this movie could take place. It could take place during the time skip where Asta was training at the Heart Kingdom, or it could take place in the second time skip that was a year and 3 months. I'm gonna lean towards the year and 3 months because it kind of felt a little bit arbitrary to get a year and 3 month time skip. Probably that's because the film takes place there, but there's going to be certain aspects that are just going to be unexplainable for the manga that are probably going to have to be basically omitted, thus making this film non-canon. Also, diving into his name itself, Conrad. Conrad means bold counsel or bold counselor, which more than likely means we could assume that his character is going to be very straightforward and tell it like it is, oftentimes possibly even offend certain people, so you can expect the jokes to fly at Asta's expense regarding his height and possibly even his big mouth. Dog, that would be so meta if they decided to incorporate jokes about, hey, your loud mouth is gonna turn off viewers, because yeah, that's what a lot of people hold over Black Clover's head, despite the fact that the series is epic. Now you also got to be thinking, okay, if the previous Wizard King Conrad is going to be returning for this film, what's going to be the other threats that are going to come into play? Because there's no secret that at the end of the day Black Clover is going to find a way to incorporate the other cast into this big battle, and considering we have quite a few people that would join in, including of course the Black Bulls, you got Yami, and of course Yuno is going to play a major factor as well. What are all their roles going to be in this film? Well, for starters, I'm going to bet my money on King Conrad not being alone. And there's a couple of different options there. For starters, it could be that when he uses those keys, he unlocks some sort of gate which unleashes a horde of monsters, demons. Maybe it could be something to do with that seaweed on his head, and maybe it's a bunch of sea creatures or something along the lines of that. But that could definitely be a major option. The fact that King Conrad is going to unleash something absolutely horrible that threatens the Clover Kingdom, and the Black Bulls are going to have to get involved. But also then you're going to have to ask, okay, well, what about the Magic Knight Captains as well? Because again, Black Clover, despite the fact that it usually boils down to the main core cast, has a wide variety of characters. And that's where I'm going to imagine that a lot of those characters aren't going to be within the core central elements of the plot. We'll probably see them there in the Clover Kingdom, but considering again we see that Asta is covert, meaning he's probably a distance away from the Clover Kingdom. I'm imagining this film is not going to take place primarily in the Clover Kingdom. It'll probably be going somewhere a bit of a distance from the Clover Kingdom, which would allow for essentially the Magic Knight Captains not being able to get involved. But also there's the major possibility that if King Conrad was basically banished or exiled from the Clover Kingdom, a group of people that were like, yo, Conrad is out, we're out too, fam. And if he has even 3 strong mages, considering he's the Wizard King, he would probably ideally have some strong people with him. That would serve up ample threat for, again, the Black Bulls to get involved and have some epic battles, because don't lie, you know you want to see Luck get anxious for a battle. You know you want to see Magna throw down on some epic stuff. And of course, considering she's the #1 most popular character in Black Clover, Noelle is going to have a major moment as well. And Yami, considering again he's one of the most popular characters of the series, he'll probably have a battle earlier on in the movie. He may have a short scrimmage scrimmage against King Conrad and realizes, wow, I can't rock with this dude, he's too OP, or he might be taking a dump the entire film. There's always that idea. And lastly, of course, leaving one of the most pivotal characters minus Asta, Yuno. I have no doubt in my mind that the final battle is going to go down to Asta and Yuno both throwing down against King Conrad. Asta probably delivering the final blow while Yuno delivers a whole bunch of wind-based attacks, maybe allowing for Asta to get an opening, because you have to remember that despite the fact that Asta and Yuno are extremely strong, there's no doubt in my mind that considering if they went up against Julius, it'd probably be very bad for them. If King Conrad is even close to the strength of Julius, they are going to have a tough time against the former Wizard King. I don't believe that Yuno will have some sort of power up. I think that's going to be exclusive to Asta getting his hands on the Wizard King's sword, but Yuno will definitely play a major factor in the final battle against King Conrad, teaming up with Asta because it's core central to the entire story of Black Clover. If this is a film about a previous Wizard King, the Wizard King's sword, it's not only Asta that's vying for the title of Wizard King. That dream also belongs to Yuno. Yuno's gonna get his digs in, unless they decide to pull a Naruto the Last and have Yuno have like 1 or 2 epic scenes and then the rest is just like, hey, no more Yuno in the movie. He's usually the quiet type that doesn't say too much. But either way, he has to have some sort of involvement. I mean, he wants to be Wizard King too, alright? Don't dump on his dreams, leave that to Yami. And considering Julius was also in the trailer, I don't expect too much from him considering post the whole Patri situation. He was rendered as a child, and in the film it showcases him in his adult form, but I don't believe Julius is going to be in his adult form throughout the entire film unless they're throwing the entire rulebook out the window and going straight DBZ non-canon 1000%. But yeah, Julius will be in the film, but probably not really having an action role, more so just comedic relief, giving a little exposition, and hey, he's another favorite character you love, look at him. Although if the movie is non-canon, a part of me would enjoy seeing Julius throwing down against the previous Wizard King and how he would fare. Just throwing that in there, fam. But there's just so many possibilities to explore with this. For starters, again, what happened to King Conrad? Where is he? Why isn't he referenced at all in the series? You got to imagine that him being the Wizard King, there will be murals of him and statues, unless maybe, who knows, there could be the possibility that majority of Wizard Kings have turned out to be bad, thus kind of tying into certain aspects in the Black Clover series as a whole. Because not to compare it to Naruto, but we know when there's a series that has a lot of former leaders that are very righteous and loved, usually there's murals, there's statues, there's something to kind of indicate, hey, this is the greatness that we've had. But throughout Black Clover, we've only seen a statue of Lumiere, and that's due to his massive battle against that giant demon that led to his demise. There's no mentions of King Conrad. Also, something that will probably make it non-canonical is the fact that if this does take place within the realms of the recent time skip, if Julius, based on this trailer, is going to be involved in this whole thing, then it's going to be a little bit muddy due to certain events in the manga. I'm trying to be very spoiler free, people, relax. Because his character would have to be basically somewhat tailored to what's going on right now in the manga, and that hasn't even been animated or close to being animated for that matter. So yeah, probably it's going to have to be filler unless it takes place again during the time skip where Asta's training in the Heart Kingdom, and even then it's kind of like, so what, is this outdated? What design are we gonna get with Asta? Is he gonna have his muscular form? What's happening, folks? And also going back to those keys on Conrad's belt, it could very well be that this sword that he's looking for is potentially wedged somewhere, that he needs keys in order to unlock the gate to get his hands on this sword, and that's why his design is incorporating that. Or it could simply be just a little bit of drip from Tabasa's epic pen. Either way, let me know what you guys think. King Conrad, the 27th Wizard King of the Clover Kingdom, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Is he the one with the sword? What do you think the plot is going to be? Why was he never mentioned in Black Clover to begin with? Your overall thoughts and expectations for the Black Clover movie. This is looking like it's going to be mighty epic. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. Subscribe and hit that bell.